Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next movie review. And this one I really I was looking forward to reviewing because I think this is a film that I grew up with, and so it has a part in the nostalgic feel for me. That's why I would say nostalgic. And to me, I think it's. I'll also kind of put this as underrated though, but I think it's more of a nostalgic one for a film for me though. So, and sadly though, the film didn't do that well back when it came out. Sad to say, because it was released in 1993, so that was the same year Star Wars: Return of the Jedi came out. So that's one of the reasons why the film flopped. But regardless, so it has gained a cult following over the years since then. And I enjoy the film, though. Despite a couple of, one big issue, though, but some people may find the film boring, but I just never thought it was. I understand the reason why people think it's boring, but I never understood it, though, for myself. So the film I'll be reviewing is of the 1983 fantasy film, sci-fi fantasy film, Krull. Which, by the way, which I think they could have put the poster for the movie on the front cover of this, though. Although I do like it shows the full image of the glaive, though. But I think the poster would have been better on this, because I think it's one of the best looking posters of the '80s of Krull, because I really enjoy the poster for that film, of this film. I mean, cool poster. But Krull, like I said, came out in 1983, and like I said, it was a huge box office flop. It cost between 27 to 30 or so million. Sadly, it didn't do that well. It didn't make pretty much a fraction of that. Because, like I said, this came out after Return of the Jedi came out. Because Return of the Jedi came out in May. This came out like in July. Because this was kind of supposed to be like the next Star Wars movie, and it didn't live up to expectations because if people are thinking it's supposed to be like the next Star Wars, people are expecting like big action stuff, like Star Wars, right? Which is one of the nitpicks I have with the film. I wish this film could have had more action in it. Now, when stuff does happen, which I'll get into though, I thought it was fine, I just wish they could have put more action in it, like more in the first and second parts of the movie. But I just say that, but even though, despite having not been too much action in the film, but I still think the action when it does happen, I think it was still fine though, still. And that's why one of the reasons why people find it boring, because there wasn't enough action in the film. Even Roger Ebert and I think Eugene Siskel together, they call this a boring sci-fi movie, right? I would disagree. To me, I never found the film boring to me, like some people do, though. So that's why I think it's one of the reasons why. A couple of those reasons why the film bombed, because of, hey, it's supposed to be like the next Star Wars. Oh, there's not much action. And especially this came out shortly after Return of the Jedi came out, so that's one of the couple of reasons why the film bombed. But regardless, though, I still enjoy the film. Like I said, it does. I grew up with this film when I saw this a few times as a kid, and that's why it has a nostalgic feel for me. And the film was directed by Peter Yates, which this guy's done pretty decent work, I mean, this is the guy who directed the classic Steve McQueen movie Bullet. Yeah, Bullet with Steve McQueen. This is the guy who directed Bullet. And on top of that, he directed some other films. He directed a film called An Innocent Man, which is a pretty decent Tom Selleck movie. He also directed Suspect, suspect with Cher and Dennis Quaid and Liam Neeson again, because speaking with Liam Neeson, this, which is by the way, he's right there. This is one of was back when early in Liam Neeson's career, back in his early career. So this is one of his earlier roles. So yeah, that's why he's on there, because because Liam Neeson is a big name now, one of the big action stars in Hollywood. So that's why his picture is on the back of this DVD here, because it's Liam Neeson. But this is one of his earlier roles in his career. So, but Peter Yates, like I said, he started in that film Suspect, which is why Liam Neeson was in that, because of the director. So, but he also directed a film called Innocent Man. Like I said, he directed Bullet. So, and I think maybe I should say that he was not the right director for this job, because one of the reasons is I say that because I think that director Peter Yates, I think he had a terrible time making this movie. I think because of that, he had a difficult time making this film. He just took pretty much like a week off vacation. And it's because that the effects team had to wait couldn't do the work for 3 weeks. So because of Peter Yates taking time off, because he was having a difficult time making this film, he took a week off, and then the effects team had like 3 weeks, 3 weeks off, because they couldn't do it because of him. So maybe you can say he wasn't the right director for this job, though. But regardless, so I still enjoy the film. But I think even if he thinks he may not be the right director, I still think Peter Yates still did good with the movie, regardless, though. And so. And not only that, though, the score is done by the late James Horner. James Horner, who did scores from Aliens to Titanic, including the first Avatar movie, because he passed away long before the second one came out, or other films like his last score for The Magnificent Seven, or I mentioned Aliens, or Star Trek Wrath of Khan, which people say that he reminisces his own scores he did for that film and a couple of others. I love this. That's one of the best parts of this. I love the score for this movie. It's great. James Horner, I think it's one of his best scores he's done. Rest in peace to James Horner. Rest in peace to him. It's one of his best scores he's done. I love the music to this film. It started from the opening title sequence of when it shows Krull. And then the music playing of James Horner during the whole title sequence. Great piece of score. Or especially where they're riding on those fire horses called the fire mares. That whole piece of score when they're riding on there is fantastic. I think it's called Ride of the Fire Mares. Great. The best part of the score of that film was that scene where it's called Ride of the Fire Mares. I love that piece. That's the best piece of score of that movie. But the whole thing by James Horner is fantastic. He did a great job with his score. So that's a big positive right there. I think the production sets of the whole movie is also not only solid, it's great. I mean, it looks like it is an entirely fantasy world, because hey, Krull, because that's what it takes. It takes place on a planet called Krull. That's the name of the planet, Krull. And getting to the story, you have this beast and his fortress, the Black Fortress, traveling across the galaxy, and he lands in this planet called Krull. Now the story is the beast. Which I'll get into the design of the beast, though. But the story is like him and his fortress comes to Krull. He wants a bride, and so our lead guy, Colwyn, played by Ken Marshall, is set to marry the princess. The princess, played by Lysette Anthony, the princess name. What was the other princess's name? Lisa, or Lysa. So to unite their two kingdoms together, and probably because to fight this beast. And one thing I think another nitpick I have with the movie is the princess. Clearly, her voice has been dubbed. I guess the case is because the girl Lysette Anthony is British, and I say we can't have a British, so we have to dub her voice. I'm like, why did you hire her in the first place if you don't want a British actress? Because, speaking of Star Wars, Alec Guinness is British. Peter Cushing is British. I mean, even Warwick Davis. You know, I think Warwick Davis is British. Yeah, I mean, you get British actors playing in Star Wars, right? So why, if you didn't want her to be hire a British woman to be in this movie, then why hire her in the first place? But I think instead they decided to dub her voice. It is dubbed. I can clearly tell. So you see, I can't judge on her acting performance because her voice has been dubbed. So it's kind of hard to judge her performance fully because of it's not using her real voice. I don't get that. I think that was stupid, you know. But more of that. So they marry each other get ready to be married, and then the Beast sends in his team, which I thought they were cool looking creatures. They're called Slayers. Cool name, Slayers. They're supposed to like this Star Wars version of Stormtroopers. Not only the production design, but the designs of the Slayers and the Beasts themselves. Like with the Slayers, they're like this universe's Stormtroopers. They shoot lasers. You know, they basically kill pretty much everybody except for Colwyn. I mean, including his father. He gets shot, but Colwyn gets injured, and the princess is taken. And so, other than that, the Slayers, I think they're cool looking designs. Especially when they get killed, they let out this horrible scream like this, which apparently I think that's another thing. They took that scream from a film called At the Earth's Core from '76. I've never seen it, so let alone I never heard of it, so I can't judge on that part either. But I believe they took the Slayer scream. I guess they took it from that movie. But I think it's better here because even though I have not seen that film, so I can't judge. But I think the scream is used much better here. And even when the Slayers die, like this slug-like bug that comes out of their head and into the ground. Now we don't ever know which ever becomes those insects that slither into the ground. Do they slither off to die or to move on, you know? But either way, it's just some of the stuff about the Slayers is creepy, you know? Like just how the way they look, or like when that horrible scream, or that sluggish thing that comes out of them into the ground. And it's like they're just like this universe of Stormtroopers. I thought they looked pretty damn cool looking. And speaking with the Beast, I thought his appearance was creepy enough. Little, he has these red eyes, kind of this big head, and these fangs, and these little claws. Now, you don't see him too much. They're trying to keep him hidden between smoke and stuff like that. But even though you still see it, it still looks pretty good. You know, I think practical wise, it looks pretty good for suit wise. Off of the effects of the Beast looks pretty good. So. So after all that, after Colwyn gets shot, which was what the people say that that Colwyn, Ken Marshall, he's kind of like a one-dimensional character. I don't see he was, because if that's the case, they would call Luke Skywalker in the first Star Wars, A New Hope, a one-dimensional character. So I'm just pointing out. So I think Ken Marshall, I thought he did fine for his role as well. I don't think he's in my view, he wasn't one dimensional like some people would say he would be. So I think Ken Marshall did a pretty good job. And then after he got shot, he's met with this old guy, this old man, played by Freddie Jones. And Freddie Jones, I think he also did a good job as this old man. And I think that this Freddie Jones, I think he is the father. Yeah, I think he's the father of actor Toby Jones. Toby Jones, who voices Dobby from the Harry Potter films, or he was in Stephen King's The Mrs. Ollie, or he was Arnim Zola in the MCU from the Captain America movies. So yeah, Toby Jones. I think that he is the son of Freddie Jones, who plays the old man in this. So Ken Marshall as Colwyn. He's very adamant to find his missing bride, and defeat the Beast and bring home his bride. So him and the old man go, and on the way, they meet with this guy named Ergo, played by David Batley, who has these tricks to make himself the ability to shapeshift to pretty much any animal. I thought David Batley as Ergo. I thought he did a good job. I didn't find him as quite as annoying as maybe some people did, but to me he wasn't that annoying. And also on the way, they meet a band of thieves, which is the leader of the group is played by Alun Armstrong. And the guy Alun Armstrong, who is the leader of this band of thieves or bandits, he was also in Split Second with Rutger Hauer, which I enjoy that film. Watching it again, I was like, oh yeah, that's the guy from Split Second. That's right, with Rutger Hauer. I really forgot though, because I haven't seen Split Second in quite a long time though. So, but I think that Alun Armstrong did a good job as well. And among his group of thieves, you have Robert Coltrane and Liam Neeson upon one. Like I said about Liam Neeson, his early role, same with Robert Coltrane. Robert Coltrane, years before, he plays Hagrid also from the Harry Potter movies. So yeah, before playing Hagrid, Robert Coltrane, he also played Valentine from the Pierce Brosnan James Bond movies, like from GoldenEye and The World's Not Enough. That was another early role for him, so for future Hagrid. And Liam Neeson as well, so. But they meet with the band of thieves, and also they meet this seer, this old guy, the seer, who has a younger boy as his apprentice. And so he's trying to find where the Beast's fortress is at. I like the idea that the Beast's fortress, it can teleport and it can move to one location to another. Which I think that's kind of a smart move, have a fortress to teleport from one location to another. Which, the reason why I say it's smart, because you just managed to find this fortress. Before you get in, it disappears to another location that pretty much you don't know where it's at. It could be anywhere. And not only that though, you have to waste your time to travel to another far distance to find the fortress. So I think having a teleportating fortress, I think that's a smart move to do by the villain. You know, being cautious and being safe for himself. So I think I think it's having a smart thing for one of the smart things for a villain, a teleporting moving fortress. And so, and now you don't know much about the characters of the bandit, like development of the characters of the bandits, like Alun Armstrong or Liam Neeson or Robert Coltrane. You don't know much about development from their characters, and even including all the way they meet with the Cyclops. I really think the guy who plays Cyclops, I think, did a good job. He's his character, he also had a history with the Slayers and the Beast as well. But they did something that it makes them take away one of their eyes. Which is why they're Cyclopses. and he can see into the future, but it's only up to his own death. So he's prepared to accept his death, but if he deviates from that, he's going to have a very painful death. But even though he seems tough, even throwing a spear, he's just like this big friendly giant, on a way. And so also now with the seer, he can pretty much see into pretty much from the fortress, right? And there's this big eye looking at him, pretty much, and then the arm kind of looked like the knife gloves like Freddy Krueger had. Pretty much say, hey, leave me alone, go away, basically. And so as they're walking, the ground underneath it, which I thought was also a well done set piece, where the ground all of a sudden turns into quicksand, which apparently the beast has the power to do that, to turn the ground into quicksand. But they all get out except for one guy. He dies, sinks in the quicksand, and so they need to know where to find the fortress. So Freddie Jones goes to see the Madam I was gonna say Madam Web though, which no. Widow of the Web. Yeah, the Widow of the Web, not Madam Web. But which the old man goes to, he walks across the webbing, which sounds like chimes, right? And you get this also well done effects. So you get this nice stop motion animation of this giant spider, this big white clear spider. Well done effects with stop motion effects, really well done. And so he goes to see her. He finally makes it in this big cocoon of webbing. He sees her, and he explains how she explains to us how him and her used to be a thing, right? And after he went off, she had a kid on his own without him knowing about it. And after she visualized, visualizes him being mad at her, so he goes and she basically strangles the baby to death. And so that's why she took on a younger appearance, because I think she thinks she feels guilty about what happened. And so then so she gives him the hourglass, the remaining sand of the hourglass, which each time he drops a little bit, it represents his lifespan. So he does manage to escape from the giant spider, but the thing is, though, he dies because his life has expired because he didn't have no more of the sands of time to tell him. So after that he dies, and then Colwyn, Ken Marshall, gets an idea, so he goes off, and he has to make another sword, And so after that, the seer, another one of those creatures disguises as him, appearance wise, and kills the old man, dumps his body into the quicksand, which the Cyclops sees. Just about to strangle Ken Marshall before the Cyclops throws a spear again, and then they kill it. So after the scuffle, they go. After they're taking care of the slayers in the swamp and the imposter of the seer, so that's after that, like I said, disguised as the one. But After that's when the old man goes to see the widow of the web. His sacrifices his lifespan with the sand. He dies. And so after that, they go and fight some fiery horses, or the what was the name? What was the name? The name of those film? I said it earlier, and then I forgot again. Fire mirrors, yeah. Basically, flaming horses. These horses can run thousands of miles around easily. As they're running, their hooves starts to set on fire. So that's one of the reasons why. And so by the time they get there, that's when they find her. And so they get her out, and sorry, I'm pausing for me here. And then like I said, I thought the film could have used a little more action, but the biggest upset for me was the lack of this, the glaive. The glaive was so underused, unless it was used in the last 20 minutes of the movie. I'm like, now I do get that, in Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One, you have like so many Easter egg movies, right? Of course, there was one gamer had the glaive and throws it, which hey, that was a nice callback to the movie, right? The glaive, which I always enjoyed the glaive. I thought it was a very cool looking weapon, but sadly, he doesn't use it as much, until the third act. It's always been sitting in his pocket. He used it to to take out the boss, the beast. I mean, so yeah, the beast, and and by the time after riding with the fire mares, the flaming horses, they finally get to the fortress. They're attacked by slayers again, and then Robert Coltrane, sadly, he dies first outside. And then the Cyclops comes in, sacrifices himself, and some people get pretty killed in some pretty brutal ways sometimes. I mean, we see the Cyclops, he gets basically crushed to death. This one guy, where he gets impaled by these spikes on the floor, because he dropped his knife, so he has to go and retrieve it. So I'm like, okay, why is it worth risking life for the knife? But we see the spike slowly go into him, pushing forward, and then with the other neighbor, same thing, And the way the design inside of the Beast's fortress, really cool like set designs. Like when the princess comes out, like the walls all of a sudden just close in. It looks all foreign because it makes sense because the Beast came from outer space to be on this planet, right? So it does make a lot of sense why it's a alien type of hat or whatever whatever. But that's when Ken Marshall and the rest they manage to get in there. They go across this very skinny bridge, and then that's when Liam Neeson he gets shot. Although Alun Armstrong does use weapons on a couple of the Slayers. So. And then after that, that's when the final face between Ken Marshall and the Beast. When he uses the glaive, which by the way, like I said, I love the glaive. I think it's one of the coolest weapons I've seen in film history. One of the coolest weapons. But it was sadly it was so underused. It was so underused in this movie. But when Cohen does use it, it's cool, you know. He used it like it's like a boomerang and uses it as a buzzsaw to cut this door down. And he's killing slayers left and right with this glaive, and takes out the beast with the glaive, you know, and just and so and I hate the fact that he had to leave that weapon behind, you know. And just like that totally sucks. I mean, like I said, the glaive is an awesome weapon. I think it's one of the best and cool looking weapons I've seen in film. Right? I mean, I just wish he would have used that more, you know, like when they were in the swamp, killing more slayers in the swamp, you know, and using it more, just, but it was cool to use it, he used it when he killed all those slayers, and then, of course, the beast, but then after all that, he since his bride, you know, to the power of love, he uses the power of fire that she, you know, when she, earlier in the ceremony, she reached in the water and grabbed fire. But now it transfers to him, and he now has a freaking flamethrower hand, just burning the beast, and just, he can use it to burn through the whole wall so they can escape, and just, yeah, of course, it looks like it's practical to, like, digitally add it on to the guy's hand, right? But it looks like, you know, because it's gonna be hard to do it practically, having a flamethrower hand, though. So, but that is cool. He gets to have a flamethrower hand, but just like he had to leave that awesome one behind. That just, to me, that sucks. But and then afterwards, just like, I mean, the remaining team, because like with him, his bride, when they gather, and like I said, the whole layout of the whole inside of the fortress is really cool looking production sets as well. Handed to the bride, like earlier, like when the bride was trying to get out of this fortress, like there was, as soon as she leaves through this small narrow passage, like the walls just close in, like it's organic in a way. And like I said, with the catwalk where they're walking across, very thin, and then of course with this wall of spikes. That one, like I said, one of the guys, because he dropped his knife, which I'm like, is it worth going back for your knife? But it just the spike slowly just goes right into him. You know, it's like, it's not bloody though, but just like the whole thing is like, oh, it's slowly pushing right into him. And whereas Alun Armstrong, he gets like caught right in the arm. And just the whole, I enjoy the layout. I mean, the deaths, I thought was pretty, at times it was pretty gruesome. Like I said, the spike, and even the Cyclops, right? I mean, he tries to, while they're trying to get into the fortress, he's holding it while it's closing in, and he says, you know, it's his time, you know, because like he says, this is his time to die, so he does the self-sacrifice to let them in, right? Even when you see his eye closed, so he's accepting his death as he's getting crushed to death, right? Big friendly giant, you know, gives his self-sacrifice. And so, like I said, it's Cohen, his bride, Alun Armstrong, the thief, the little boy apprentice, Ergo, and the other guy that they met on the way as well. So yeah, they're the remaining survivors, and they get out, and then is when with the whole fortress, it starts collapsing, just like disintegrates up into the air, and then afterwards, like they walk off into the distance, and you have Freddie Jones narrating. He's saying, hey, so the bride becomes queen, she'll find a king, and their son will rule the galaxy. So, yeah, I love Krull, so it was a... I don't know, but... for some reason, I don't know why I had the DVD one. Well, because, you know, why it was cut back to daylight, because I always get the same reason. I start dozing off, you know, and it affects my speech, you know, so that's why it's cut back. That's why it's cut to daylight. That's why. I think I put the DVD back. I think, but well, but you've seen the DVD earlier, so. But yeah, I enjoy Krull. I think it's a very nostalgic piece of movie, nostalgic film for me. At times, I do feel it's underrated because you don't see fantasy films like these. You know, just like this is what with the films nowadays. It's I think that's what lacks in creativity. This film had creativity in it, ideas, And I definitely know that J.J. Abrams stole the scene, the whole horse scene for to put in Rise of Skywalker, because I think he was gonna do a film like this, and all of a sudden, Rise of Skywalker with these horses. I mean, is that coincidence? I mean, I think it was because he thought it was the idea of doing something like this, and then he puts that idea into Rise of Skywalker. Horses, the fire horses, and then we put the horses in the Rise of Skywalker, the fly and stuff like that. I mean, that's not a coincidence. I mean, you had an idea to do something like that in Krull, and you just took it from this. So, and yeah, this is better than any. Yes, speaking of Star Wars, this is better than any of these new Star Wars movies. Easily better than. It's better than Rise of The Force Awakens. Better than The Last Jedi. Rise of Skywalker, Rogue One, Solo, all these shitty Star Wars movies. Krull is easily miles better than any of these. Or any better than those TV shows they've been doing, like the Endor or Skeleton Crew. Although I do enjoy The Mandalorian season 1 and 2. I do get to say that though. But what was the other ones they did? Bad Batch. Boba Fett. Krull is still better than all of those, okay? Because like I said, this one is I feel kind of underrated, but I think it's more nostalgic for me. Because hey, and it was cool to see it in Ready Player One when Parzival, or was it the other girl? I think it was Parzival. He used the glaive, and it's oh cool, it was the glaive. It was cool that we saw the glaive in Ready Player One. That was a nice, good, nostalgic moment right there. But like I said, it's an awesome weapon. So at least Krull and the glaive got some respect in that way in Ready Player One. Because, despite being a flop, it has gained a cult following over time, right? And like I said, this is a lack of creativity. This films nowadays that, for fantasy films like this, it's what the films lack nowadays, and ideas and originality and creativity. Yeah, even I think the cast overall was good, and like I said, I love the score by James Horner. Rest in peace to him. One of his best scores he's done, especially the scene where the fire marries the flame horses. That was the best part of the best score of the film. But I love the score nonetheless. I mean, like I said, if you're disappointed because this, like I said, this bomb, because it's supposed to be like the next Star Wars movie, and it failed. Which I can see why people thought it was boring, because yes, I do think there should have been more action in it. I will give it that, and the glaive should have been used more. That's the only two nitpicks I have with the movie: more action, and more usage of the glaive. But over that, I can understand why people thought it was boring. Even Roger Ebert, like I said, Roger Ebert still thought the film was so boring and nonsensical, whatever and stuff, But the cast, especially the special effects, I thought were good at the time. Especially the stop motion animation of the spider was cool, and just good makeup effects, and like I said, the design looking of the beast I thought was cool looking as well. Times creepy, yes. That's why I think I put this above Ridley Scott's Legend, because I don't mind Legend with Tom Cruise and Tim Curry. I thought he was good as the devil. With all the hell he went through with the makeup process though, because at times it tore some of his skin off to do that though. But I don't mind Legend. But I think Krull is better a fantasy film than that film though, and better than any new Disney Star Wars movie. That's definitely, I can say that for sure. And the characters I enjoy. I mean, I think Ken Marshall, like I said, maybe thought he was a boring lead, but I did not mind. I liked him. I thought he was good as the lead. Yeah. Also, the other nitpick I have, I had, I mentioned though, but if I said more action, more usage of the glaive, and the bride's voice, right? I mean, the dubbing her voice, it sounds stupid, right? Oh, if you want her to be British, then why do you have her hire her in the first place? I mean, to me, it's not a big deal. Just have her talk in a normal British voice. So what? I mean, it's like the Star Wars franchise have British actors all the time in those films. So what's the difference? stupid, you know. So yeah, the dubbing of the prince of the bride, that was dumb. So, but I think the actress did fine what she could, you know. I think just it's hard to judge a performance because we didn't hear her actual voice. But I thought Freddie Jones was good. It was nice to see young Liam Neeson, Robert Coltrane in their early roles. Alun Armstrong I thought was good as the leader of the bandits. I remember the guy's name who played the Cyclops. He did a good job. I did not find David Batley, who played Ergo. I didn't think he was annoying. I didn't think he was. I mean, it was cool to get to transform into these actual animals, not CGI animals, like an actual tiger, or you transform into like a little dog to cheer the little boy up, you know, using real animals. So that was nice instead of CGI. And I love the look of the Slayers. I thought they were cool looking. To me, I thought they're much better looking than the Stormtroopers, you know. I mean, I liked the Stormtroopers, but the design look of the Slayers was so much better. And the creepy edge when they die, that eerie scream, that I can't do it though, but you get it. And just when they die, the whole slug thing comes out of them, and then, man, just cool. I mean, this is like I would like to see a trilogy of Krull, you know, like the sequel. They say about the sun's gonna rule the galaxy. How about the son of Krull? Son of Krull. That's a much more fitting title, Son of Krull. I would love to see a trilogy for this, but that's not the case. But yeah, I love Krull. You know, it's a great nostalgic film for me. A great fantasy film, sci-fi fantasy, but fantasy all the same though. So, but the usage of some great set designs, the design look of the Slayers, the Beast, the cast I enjoy. Love the score by James Horner. Peter Yates, yeah, despite the fact he took a week off because this was hard for him, I'm like, maybe he was on the right guy, but nonetheless, I still have to give some credit to him, despite the fact that was stupid, you know. You're a director, you finished the work. A lot of directors have difficult times making films, okay? So that's no exception. But yeah, it was nice because you got the guy who directed Bullet with Steve McQueen to do this, Suspect, An Innocent Man. But and also I love the look of the poster for the film. That's definitely a cool looking poster. I love that poster. Maybe one day I'll get a poster of that. Because I really love that poster. And just still awesome weapon. One of the best looking weapons, the glaive. So, but yep, that's my review for Krull. I definitely recommend checking this film out. If you think it's boring, I understand though, but to me, it's not boring to me. If you don't like the film because it's boring, I understand though, but to me, I enjoy the movie. Krull. Such a cool title, and the great title sequence with the James Horner score. They just don't make films like these nowadays. Like I said, creativity, ideas. At times, I'd probably say originality, because that's what films lack nowadays. To me, this film is about as original as I think it is. But, with all that said and done, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next movie review, and we'll see you next time. Later.